The Catholic Morning Show on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Good to be with you, friends. I'm Bo Bonner, your host. Lexia Baker, Aidan Pugh, and Brady Grimm all rounding out the studio today. Thank you for stopping by and getting your day started with us here on Iowa Catholic Radio. Let's go to our first interview of the day. John Gaffney is the team director for adult evangelization and leadership formation at the Diocese of Des Moines. He comes by every month to give us insight into precisely evangelization and things like that. Today, we're going to talk about summer curiosity and what that has to do with evangelization. John, thanks for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Well, Bo, it's always a great joy to be with you. Missed you last month, but I'm glad you're back.
Well, I'm glad you're back from your vacation, and that's all prescient for what we're going to be talking today. Many people say that evangelization begins with relationship. How does curiosity fit into the first moment when someone wonders about the church, about prayer, or about God?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Bo, I think the conversation you and Alexia had it was perfect segue into this, because it really, even a step before curiosity, a step before it is being rooted, and vacation many times allows that opportunity to clear away the busyness and to hopefully reconnect with our faith and to explore something a little bit new and deeper. But today, what I want to talk about is how curiosity, which a lot of times, whether it's a day trip, maybe up to the Grotto, just north of here, or it's a trip to someplace here in the United States, or it's a trip over to Italy or some of the other beautiful sites across the world. It's our curiosity that kind of moves us in that direction. The same thing is, I would say, that in the summertime we have a lot more opportunities for people to gather, and they're also a lot more relaxed. So the thing I would like the listeners to hear is I believe that curiosity is the Holy Spirit stirring our heart to know more about that person we happen to be sitting next to at that picnic or at the ball game or wherever we're at, because again, we can start chatting with people. Families are gathering. We're visiting other places, and sometimes, and I would say more than sometimes actually, I'm going to correct myself. People start letting their guard down, Bo. They start sharing things that may be on their hearts, and so when that happens, it's up to us to be ready to go, to be approachable, to be joyful, and maybe willing to share our own story if someone starts opening up with, I know you're a really strong, faith-filled person, Bo, and I have this question because it just keeps coming back to me, and he asks or she asks that question of you. This is that perfect opportunity, and this is where curiosity can jump in, because we can answer that, but we can also say, hey, tell me more about why that question is really jumping into your heart so loudly.
Well, I think summer certainly makes people more reflective. I don't know if it's like the heat or like less to do, or maybe there's just more time because the day's longer. But when that's the case, what are some of the moments when curiosity about the faith tends to surface, and how can Catholics respond in a way that's welcoming rather than overwhelming?
Yeah, so I think, I'm going to kind of go back to what I just said a second ago. I think the most important thing is to really be approachable, that what they see in us as Catholics is someone who, just like God does for each of us, takes us where we're at. So to listen to that story, to ask questions, to spend more time kind of in their world, wondering a little bit as that opening comes up to say, again, tell me a little bit more about that. Is there something in your life that's causing you to reflect on this particular question? And then, and this is the key part, be ready to share your own story. Not to co-opt what they're saying, but and what I like to do is I like to say, Bo, I really appreciate that question. I appreciate you sharing a little bit more about that. Can I share a little bit about how God has worked in my life in a very similar way, but different, definitely, from what you're experiencing? And usually most people jump at that. And so I think that's the best approach, is listen to the story. Don't co-opt the story. Don't say, oh, that is exactly what I've experienced. Let me tell you about that. When that moment does arise to share your own story, ask permission to see if you can add a little something from your own life about what God has done for you.
Well, when someone shows that curiosity about the Catholic faith, are there practical ways Catholics can accompany them so that curiosity becomes a journey rather than a one-time conversation or a lecture? Yeah.
I think the most important thing, it really transforms people. And I've actually visited with quite a few people before I went away on vacation this summer, and it's the Mass. They may not be ready for it, but you can still offer it. Say, would you want to come and see how we worship? And you and I can sit together, and we don't really have to have a lot of interaction. And then we can talk a little bit about why we worship, because to understand being Catholic is to kind of try and understand how we worship. And what is at the core of what we worship is this thing called Eucharist. It's Jesus. Now, if that might be a little too overwhelming for the person, depending upon how the conversation is, the other one is, hey, why don't we grab coffee and you write down as many questions as you have, and I'll try and answer them as much as you can. And the third one I always think of is lean on your pastor or your deacons. Hey, you've got some great questions, and our pastor is just amazing, or deacon so-and-so is in our church is just amazing. And I like the deacons a lot because they tend to be really great bridge people because they're working, they have families, and they're also clergy in our church. And so sometimes there can be connections with deacons that even our pastors are wonderful, that the deacons might be the best shot. But those are the three best ways, I say, is Mass. Hey, can we grab some coffee? And I answer as many questions as you have, and we can pray together. And then the third one is see if you can connect them with your pastor or deacons.
Well, we're speaking with John Gaffney, Team Director of Adult Evangelization and Leadership Formation for the Diocese of Des Moines. Before we let you go, any last thoughts about how summer curiosity as a gift can really be a gift for evangelization?
Yeah, again, it's that opening that door to Christ's love, Bo. So when we respond with warmth, with attentiveness, again, that joy, then evangelization is natural, because people want what you have, Bo. They want what Alexia has. And that is at the heart of evangelization, because it is the good news. So let's spread the good news by being approachable, joyful, and loving the person who's right in front of us.
Absolutely wonderful. John Gaffney, Team Director, Adult Evangelization and Leadership Formation for the Diocese of Des Moines, giving us insights into how summer curiosity leads naturally into evangelization. John, thanks for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
A great joy to be with you all, Bo, and have a happy summer.
Listen to the Catholic Morning Show weekdays at 7 a.m. Central on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, iowacatholicradio.com, or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.